And we are live, George.
Cool. Good evening, everyone. Hope we're all right. Sorry for being late. I've noticed Darren's already started in the chat already, so sorry, grandfather. We're going to talk about the entertaining action from yesterday. Like I was saying to everyone, are you not entertained? So I'm going to welcome my guests. Yaz, how are you doing? Great to have you here, mate.
I'm good, thank you. Oh, sorry.
So you weren't even at the game.
No, I know.
Are you good there?
Yeah, I'm all good. It's been busy today, but I'm all good.
Oh, that's good. Laura, how are you doing, mate?
I'm all good, buddy. I think I'm feeling the effects that everybody else, especially the ones that were at the game. I think yesterday was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, so the come down's a bit of a hard one, I think.
Yeah, I normally feel like this when I've been in the Coronet or the Good Companion for too long, but I only had like 2 drinks. I'm shattered. Andrew, top dog, how you doing, mate?
Good evening, sir. My optimism bias was tested to the max, but here we are. 3 more points, closing in on Chelsea.
Exactly. It's only, what is it, 7 or 8 now? Maybe next year.
Maybe next year, yeah.
Yeah, I was starting to forget who you was, Andrew, at first. Like, not been on the show for a couple of times.
Yeah, I've had a dodgy hamstring, getting, just need to make sure you bring me out for the big games. So here I am.
You saved yourself there because you were so close to saying, "Oh, I've just been busy." Was that what? Too busy for us?
I ain't been busy. I'm self-employed.
Paul, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. Just about recovered from being there yesterday.
Did Esme have a good birthday?
Yep, she thoroughly enjoyed it, and the younger 2 were up there jumping around and singing along as well. So yeah, they really enjoyed it.
Cool. Have I forgot anyone? Don't think so. If I have forgot, you just shout at me.
That's everybody, George.
All right, cool. We're gonna obviously we've got a lot to talk about yesterday. It was a very bipolar game, if that's the best way to explain it. We'll start with you, Andrew. Obviously, we saw the lineup. Chloe Kelly was starting. I was quite happy about that. Because you can't start a fire. And we thought, oh, do you know what? Yeah, let's play the game how we've been playing recently. And on what time is it? It's not even 8 o'clock. Fuck it. And did that fucking happen? No.
I don't know if that was a question, George.
No. My phone, my voiceover froze. So I'm not sure what it's doing. Yeah, so no, we didn't. We probably started the worst we played for a very, very long time, didn't we?
Yeah, it was quite horrific. Midfield getting overrun. I think that was the issue there. Midfield just getting completely overrun. West Ham kind of dominating the whole of the central area, kind of in their own half in the midfield, and then sort of I think their attackers just having free reign, at sort of running at the centre backs. To be honest, I thought Amanda Illish might start, because, and funny enough, it did come from corners, but I was more worried about the big Icelandic girl. I thought she was going to cause us problems, and I thought Amanda might start, or even Katie, put some height in there. But yeah, I didn't necessarily, but and having Leah Volti was marking their goal scorer, and when you see them kind of stood next to each other, there's a good 3 or 4 inches at least difference in height to them, which obviously led to it. But yeah, I think it was a bit of a horror show for the first half an hour or so. Well, it's actually 40 minutes really before we scored, wasn't it? I've actually just got the replay on here, and I'm hoping Chloe's going to score in a minute now. But yeah,
I celebrate on the show like it's actually happening live.
No spoiler alerts. I don't know what happens.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul. Well, we'll get like what Andrew said. I think it was just a horrendous start, wasn't it? Really. I can't think of one person that I thought played well in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, by half time, I'd pretty much got half the starting lineup on the transfer list and the other half on the bench. Recalled all our youngsters from loan and been on the phone to Jem Beattie to come out of retirement. It was that bad.
Excellent.
I haven't watched the full match back, but I've watched the highlights back, and it doesn't seem as bad as it did at the time. But like Andrew's just said, the midfield were just completely overrun. They couldn't get into the game at all. They looked on the back foot the whole time, 4 or 5 steps off the pace. It almost felt like it was the second game of the day for them. They'd already played their 90 minutes and they were coming out again. But all credit to Renee. She made the change at half time. She went to the plan B, unlike previous head coaches that wouldn't have a plan B. And she wasn't afraid to change it up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I know you're saying it weren't as bad as it fucking was. But we were that bad. We had Shakira score against us. Like, I'm not having one. But yeah, we will get into my views about it because they're probably quite controversial. And just thanks to everyone who's watching so far. Just to perk Scott up, Leah Williamson. We'll talk about Leah Williamson, but not yet. Just keeping you awake, Scott. Keeping you awake. Yeah, obviously, I think it's been spoke about, hasn't it? Like, with the midfield was completely overrun. I've said plenty of times, Leah Volti and Kim, for me, is not what I want to see. When Kyra come on, it was a massive change, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good change as well. I think when Kyra come on, it all started to fall together.
Yeah, I just think, like, and this is like, don't shoot me down. Like, I don't want the Scottish Mafia coming for me yet. So
here we go.
Right. but Andrew, you make it worse. You're like, oh, here we go. Like, zip that, get that on TikTok. But I think we've said on here that Kim is more going to become a bit part player, isn't she?
Yeah.
But I just think yesterday, I don't think she was that good. I don't know if you agree, Yaz, as well.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I'm glad it weren't just me as well. So, Laura, obviously, you've put yourself through torture. I watched it twice. Like, what was your views on some of the performances, and like, what's your actual opinion on the midfield being overrun? Do you think, is it just they all just had a bad day? They all got jet lagged from doing the tube from Wembley, or?
I mean, what jet lag with I mean, what jet lag would Kimmy Little have? She wasn't on an international break. She should have been one of the strongest ones on that pitch yesterday. And to me, she was one of the ones that looked like she was away to America, away at, like Emily Fox and Kyra Cooney-Cross and Steph and Caitlin, of course, but non-existent, absolute non-existent. And I agree with you. Kim Little should never step foot back on that pitch unless she's coming off a bench to clear up at the end of a game, the last 15, 20 minutes. That's the way I honestly felt yesterday about watching her performance. I also don't think the link up between her and Leah Walty is there anymore. It's gone. That double pivot isn't at Arsenal anymore. We should never be using that. We are not using Jonas Eidevall's tactics. We are using Renee's. And that's the way it should go going forward. Any Scottish, and that's coming from a Scottish person. I think if Kimmy Little keeps going the way she's going to ruin her legacy, because our performance yesterday was just absolute utter dross, and it wasn't acceptable, to be honest with you. And neither was Leah Walty's performance either. Frida Manham, I don't even want to start on Frida Manham. Like,
we will talk about Frida, because I'm not one of these fans that can't criticise their fan favourites. Just thought I'd drop that in.
I'm just about to criticise her because I think she was non-existent again. She may as well would have just stayed in Norway for an international break, because I don't even think I heard her name once yesterday on the commentary. She was disgusting. Like, to me, it's like she downed tools at the start of the season when Jonas downed his tools, and I think she should have gone with him. That's just the way I feel about that situation.
Crikey, Laura! That's a straight those two-footed tackles.
It's being honest. Like, if we're going to look to start winning cups with a new manager who has actually got the balls to take players off a pitch, then she's going to have the balls at the end of the season to start telling players to get either their act together or get out the door. And I think Frida's one that she should be saying get out the door, because she's it annoyed me yesterday and it annoyed me today watching it back.
Yeah, what I will say, and this is me being weirdly optimistic, is that I understand what people are saying in the comments, that Kim's a legend, they shouldn't play her and all that stuff, and KCC's better than Kim, all that stuff. Players, and I'm not just saying this for yesterday, but players can have a really shit day. I think what yesterday proved more to me is that there is still some players that you have to have that awkward conversation about in the summer that consistently are not good enough to be playing in that first 11. I think Frida becomes one of them now. Dorian's probably just fell off his chair because I really like Frida, but
sorry, Dorian.
Yeah, so I think that I don't know. I do think her Arsenal career is a bit up in the air, if I'm honest, because I think you see when Mariona plays in that 10 alongside Kyra and Leah, it's a completely different midfield, and I am going to kind of pour some fuel onto the fire with about Palova. Everyone's saying, "Oh, well, where's the midfield with Palova?" But she ain't fit, guys. So why are you thinking about it? She ain't going to be playing in that midfield probably till start of next season potentially. So Palova in that midfield this season isn't a question we should be having, because I don't know. Can anyone here see Vicky Palova starting in midfield this season? Because I can't.
Nope.
No.
So it's not a conversation really that needs to be happening now. If you've got a midfield of say Kyra, Palova, Mariona, and then you bring whoever else, bring someone else in, fine. It's called having competition in a squad. So that's one of my controversial takes for the day. And what have we got any other comments before we go on to the next bit, Laura?
Let me scroll back to the top because there's a lot.
That's right.
I don't actually ever think I've ever seen the chat this busy.
We haven't even
something
spoke about Leah yet.
Something must have happened yesterday. Like Scott has said, I think we all have short memories. Wally turned the game around at City. Sure, she wasn't on it yesterday, but I don't think Renee needs to take her on a tour of local retirement homes just yet. Which is correct. We have said, it's like, we think if Leah Walty stays injury free, then she's a good player. But yesterday she just wasn't on it. She was another one that just, I don't know what happened there, but we can't always expect a player to always be on the game. Doreen said that perhaps Wally and Kim together, or neither of them, is not as balanced as it could be. Yeah, certainly wasn't balanced yesterday to me. He also said, watching it back, it wasn't as bad as a first half as it seemed. Nowhere near your standards. I don't know what first half you were watching, Doreen, but hey.
Dorian's still half asleep after getting my PS3 ticket this morning, I think.
As I say, there's quite a lot.
I do agree. I think Scott said it, and this is really worrying because me and Scott never agree on anything, and he's going to lap this up. Is that it is? I get what he's saying that with Leah Walty, she obviously changed the game against Man City, but she wasn't as effective yesterday. And people can't. It can't just be all or nothing. I do get that. People have bad games. So Scott, there you go. 1-0 to you. You got me agreeing with you about something, but. So I don't know who said it. Frida didn't have a bad game yesterday. What did she do?
Agba said Frida didn't have a bad game yesterday.
She was playing as the number 10, and we're getting battered. We were more battered than a portion of fish and chips in that first 20 minutes.
Wee, good one.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought she had a quiet game. I suppose you could say, yeah, she'd have a bad game. It was just because she.
I'm not saying she had the worst game in the world.
No.
There, but you know what I mean?
Just didn't get involved. Wasn't involved.
No. So that's why
really good second half.
Yeah, because she was on the bench. That's why Stina had a better half than her.
Good one, Paul. Good one.
No, I just think, like, when I look back at it, it was just an awful performance for me in that first half, and you wasn't catching me clapping them off when they were losing 2-1 at home to a bunch of bubble blowing people. No, not happening. Like, don't worry, we'll just settle for mediocrity. No, not happening. But I do want to talk. This will get the viewers up. I do want to talk about Leah Williamson because
Here we go.
In her defence, I've always rated her. No, I don't actually think she was as bad as I thought she was in the first half. I just think, I don't know. It's hard when the whole team's playing bad. You can easily just say, "Oh, that one, she was bad. She was bad. That one was bad." Because you could say the same thing about Russo. But we'll go to the second half because we'll move to some positivity when we actually turn up. Because obviously Renee put the podcast on. They're scared, guys. They're scared of the podcast. That's why they keep putting these good performances in. Do you know what? I will say this.
All right, Ian Wright. You calm down, Ian Wright. You just chill. You're getting too big for your boots.
I wish I had his money. What I will say is I do think Leah put her hand up instead of when it's offside and was counted, because I think obviously when we made them subs in the second half, I think she was quite important. I don't know, Andrew, do you agree? Like, I don't think she was probably one of the better players as the second half went on.
Yeah. I thought her positioning was good. I think she was starting to read the game, but I think with Leah as well, what we is that she sets up a lot of the attacks. I thought her linking up with Russo. I don't think the pitch is still a bit rubbish at Bournemouth, and I think we have to go. I think that doesn't help our kind of passing game. And so when you've got, unfortunately, when you've got people like Kyra and Leah who can ping the ball about a bit, I think that helps. But I thought Leah wears a heart on her sleeve. And well, when you saw the goal celebration where they nearly killed each other running into each other as well, I thought that was a bit of a scary moment. We thought that, but I think she's not had the best season, but she's still got. I think she's still coming back off the ACL towards the beginning of the season. But I thought, and I think Laura was made a point just before, and it's good. We kind of starting to remember. We almost kind of default to kind of Leah's still not got back to her old self yet. But yeah, just I just watched it back this morning and again, and she had quite an assured thing. I think again the midfield were just getting a free run at her and Steph, and Martinez was terrific. I mean, there's a player. What a player! I don't know how old she is or whatever, but I think Leah's going to be. We're okay. It'll be okay, and I think she's going to be lifting some trophies next year, unless with Kim lifting a few this year.
Yeah, just a few comments as well. Ryan, thanks for watching. To be fair, mate, they could have been watching your watch along the speed the midfield was going at one stage. So they're probably writing comments in. That's why it took so long. Paul, obviously, Steen. We might as well go there. It's been mentioned. Steen. I will say, I thought the substitutes actually did change the game. So Steen have probably done a job.
Wow! What time is it? 1940 on the 3rd of March. Stina did her job. Oh, I'm getting emotional. Oh my gosh!
Darren will be in tears.
It happened in 1940.
You got the comments from Darren, and I can't say that word.
Mate,
Fucking
we had a World War happen after that. You know what I mean? I think that with the substitutes point, it kind of changed the tempo of the game, and it is right what Ryan said in the chat. The players didn't really look like they turned up until it went to like 3-2, did they?
Yeah, Stina coming on changed the sort of the formation of the game, and then when we went 3-1 down, they looked some of them just looked as if they didn't really want to be there, and then something must have just changed. Somebody must have said something, and the whole mentality changed on that pitch, and they just went for them. And I mean, Stina did her tradition of being flagged offside almost as soon as she was on the pitch. It's almost like Katie McCabe getting yellow cards, Stina being flagged offside. So she did her job there, and then but after that she did manage to keep on side. I think she was only flagged offside once. Darren might be able to correct me on that if he's
she was
back. But yeah, I thought she actually had a pretty good game.
Yeah, there you go, Darren. Moving on.
Don't forget the finish for the goal that didn't count. That finish was incredible. That was the best goal.
That was a good finish. That one.
Yeah, even though it was about 6 years offside, because even I see it. But yeah. So I'll come back to you. Obviously, just going back to the West Ham second goal and the penalty that we got in the end. The referee had a good game, didn't he?
Oh, that ref was doing my head in.
Yeah. I'm glad it went. He got a few expletives from me.
I don't blame you. If I was there, I think you would have me as well.
Yeah, what I don't understand is if everyone in the ground could see that before that West Ham second goal went in, that there was it shouldn't have been a goal.
Yeah.
But he can't see it. Like, mate, what, are you sponsored by Specsavers or something?
Boots
Like-
of tissue, I think.
Yeah, I even got told not to be hard on myself because I said to him, "Are you George in disguise?"
Well,
So yeah, but yeah, Laura, he had some of the decisions were a bit to be desired, wasn't they? Putting it mildly.
To just go back on that West Ham second goal, he could see it. Darren put a picture in our group chat today, and he was
Okay.
watching it. He could see it. He did see it. Whether the lines person seen it, I don't know. That they should have been able to back that up. Yeah, but if anybody watches the back, watch our third goal go in, and watch how absolute fuming he is when our goal hits the back of that net. Well,
Yeah.
that just tells you all was a West Ham fan. But yeah, he was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I know we say, oh, it's always against Arsenal, it's always us that get the
That's because
decisions.
it is.
It genuinely is. Like we always say, it's like they say, right, this is Arsenal's schedule. Who's available that day? Give them them. And that's it. It was another one that was on my hit list yesterday, and as you can tell by my comments with Frida, if you would have seen me yesterday, my comments wouldn't have been so nice as they are today about him. He would just, I don't know, he should never referee a game ever again.
I tell you something funny. I actually didn't know it was a bloke refereeing until the 70th minute. I think Dorian said, Michael said, he's a bloke. I went, because I said, this ref, she's fucking useless. I think, and he went, no, it's a bloke. Because I didn't have my headset. That's my excuse. But yeah,
I mean the fact that it took him near enough 15 seconds to decide whether our penalty, which was a clear penalty, with two hands in front of her face, it took him 15 seconds to decide whether he was going to give a penalty or not. And it wasn't even his decision. It was either his linesman or his fourth official. But yet Lauren James can go and have a clear offside yesterday in the Brighton game, and not one thing said about it.
Because it's Lauren James.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it takes a referee 15 seconds to decide whether he's going to give Arsenal a penalty or not for a clear handball. Two handballs, I should say, because she put her two hands up. She went like that. Like, come on.
She's practicing for the England Test squad in the summer.
But she's Scottish, so there you go. She was Scottish.
Laura, we'll take anyone in a minute. We can't hit anyone. So.
I wouldn't take her. She can't even make the Scotland team. So.
But yeah, then obviously we got back into the game, didn't we, Paul? Obviously, Leah Williamson, a big part to play in that. Always rated Leah, mate. Always.
Lies. Absolute lies, George. Don't tell porcupines your nose will grow.
That's right. It's big enough as it is. So that's well.
I think with Leah that this is the role that she's growing into, with the obviously going to take over the captaincy from Kim.
Do you think she actually does?
Soon. And I just think now and again she just gets that in her mindset of, come on, I need to lead by example here. I need to step up and do something. And we get the old Leah back. And if we could have that for, week in, week out for 90 minutes every week, then it'll be wonderful. The problem is we're getting it for like 10, 15 minutes here and there. It's not consistent how she was before her injury. And it would be fantastic to have the old Leah back, I say, week in, week out. But yeah, something must have just clicked in her yesterday and thought, I need to do something. And she did. She was up front for a good sort of 3 or 4 minutes, getting in the way. And I don't think the West Ham defence knew what to do with her, because they'd obviously planned for Russo and Mariona and people like that, but they hadn't planned for what happens if Leah goes up front.
Yeah.
So it must have just sort of messed with them, and it worked. Almost like Jem Beattie coming on and going up in the number 9 role.
Leah Williamson, number 9.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think it kind of messed with their heads a bit to think, because obviously, Andrew, when it went to, even when it went 3-2, like you could tell that they was on the rope straight off, couldn't you? Like it was like if it was a boxing match at one stage, they would have had to have thrown the towel in.
Yeah, and to be fair to the crowd, I think the crowd, I was just again listening to it this morning. The crowd was on fire as well, sucking the ball into. I think especially with Leah's header, but yeah, I think the momentum was massively in our favour. I think apart from Martinez, who, like I say, was probably the best player on the pitch actually. Out of all 22, the next bet it was all Arsenal. Like I say, the momentum, the tactics, and our players are just better than theirs. But yeah, with the crowd as well, it was almost inevitable. I was saying to Paul though, when we go into the fourth goal, when we finally got the win, I thought it'd be about 5 or 10 minutes left, and it was still under the half an hour. I imagine, I don't know how. I mean, I was mentally drained just sitting there watching it, watching a commentary and scrolling through Google and obviously on the WhatsApp chat. So, I can think football can be about momentum sometimes, and that was definitely a momentum shift. That was almost like an avalanche. Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. And to be fair, I just seen a comment, are we letting Steph off the hook because she was atrocious? I think
no.
If you're watching the show, I don't think we're letting anyone off. Like we said that every player in that half was atrocious. So,
but you've got to give. We spoke about it in you spoke about it in the last podcast. We weren't sure if Steph was even going to be on the pitch yesterday. She shouldn't have been on that pitch yesterday. She hasn't been well when she was in Australia. She's in America. She said she wasn't well. She was playing full minutes for Australia, playing unwell. We weren't sure whether she was going to start in that lineup at all. But that also doesn't allow her to then go on a pitch and play absolute dreadful the way she did.
No, I agree. But what I will say as well is that it's fine. We can criticise all the players, but there's certain players that people are like, oh, why are you not saying nothing about them? Well, we are. Like, I'm not being rude. No one said nothing about Leslie Russo. Yeah. I thought she was absolutely dog shit in the first half, if I'm honest. But
I thought Stina was on the pitch the first half, and that absolute sitter that she missed.
There you go. So that's what I mean. We, as Arsenal fans, we need to be able to criticise people, players who we really like, or players that we what's the word? I wouldn't say don't like. That's the wrong word. Players that are not on our top 5 list. So, plus, we've done a lot of negative talk. So let's talk about positive stuff, because Dorian's going to be well surprised with this, I tell you. I want to talk to Yaz about Caitlin Ford. I think obviously she came off the bench, changed the game, didn't she? I think this season, take away her injury, has been probably one of our best players, hasn't she?
Yeah, I agree there. She has.
And do you think she deserves a new deal? Because I think her deal runs out soon, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I do. I think she deserves to stay on for us for as long as possible, as long as she keeps up her good work and she knows where the pitch is. Yeah.
Cool. And Laura, obviously, we saw, obviously, we turned it around afterwards, but I think if we're honest, most of that turning that around was a huge helping of that was from Chloe Kelly, wasn't it? I thought probably I thought she was our player in the match. I know I think Williamson got it, didn't she, from actually Sky, but I thought Chloe Kelly was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, to her scoring a goal, to hyping the players back up, waving her hands to say, "Come on, like we're still in this game." To getting the crowd behind it was actually Chloe waving her hands to get the crowd to go to get behind the team, and to just watching her enjoy her game yesterday and enjoy the atmosphere and take it in. But yeah, she did. She had a good game yesterday. I still think there's more to see her, Chloe, for us. I think she could provide more for us. I think with the way the game was going yesterday, she was just kind of like, right, we need to seriously put a shift in here and then get going. And yeah, I think in a better game, Chloe's coming up with more goals. She's coming up with more celebrations, definitely. But yeah.
I do like what Chloe done with the West Ham players for the penalty when they were surrounding, and she kind of basically pushed them away. I did like that, and I thought, Andrew, I thought that was the we're saying that's the Chloe Kelly we were hoping to see. Obviously, I know it's only been one game, but you can only judge her on what she's played in.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, George. I think I certainly had Chloe Kelly envy when Man City. I liked her. I think, whenever she scored against us for Man City or that, she was always giving it the North Bank something. She's a trash talker. She's got the shithousery. She's going to challenge Katie McCabe for the yellow card count. But she's a terrific player. She brings energy. She brings the celebrations, which is something the crowd have always wanted. One of the things that kind of the crowd have often spoken about, certainly in the North Bank, is that the players don't celebrate much, but that's what Chloe Kelly brings. And it was Gareth Taylor, thank you so much for being such an arse to her, because now we're just getting, and her comments after the game as well. She's clearly loving it. She's obviously getting on with the players. She's that kind of player, but I think she's vibing with the atmosphere as well. I think that's, she's a kind of a player that kind of comes off that. And, as you were saying, Laura, she's kind of really connected with the crowd already. That's who she is. She was, she's terrific. And I was always like 90% sold on it, but I'm hoping she signs for us full time next year. And the other thing is she's box office as well. I mean, I don't know. I didn't get the numbers, but when she signed for us, I think the North London Derby, the ticket sales went up again. I think they peaked. They'd kind of plateaued at something like 40. Something, and then Chloe signed, and as another kind of 5,000 to 6,000 people signed up. So she's box office as well. She's she's going to, she's one of the key, probably the most, I don't know, arguably the most iconic lioness for the goal and again the celebration. So yeah, I'm all in.
I gathered that, mate. But yeah, no, I thought she played well, and obviously after watching that, Andrew wants Chloe Kelly 10-year deal, put it on the table.
Yeah.
So, Paul, what I want to say, obviously, a lot of the chat's been on how bad the players have been, but who do we give the credit to for them turning it around? Surely that has to go both probably to Renee, but then also some of those players that proved a point as well, because when that was Jonas, we probably would have lost that, I think, after being 2-0 and then 3-1 down.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously something was said in the dressing room at half time, or like you said earlier, George, she just turned our podcast on during half time and let them watch us criticize them. But yeah, there must have been a couple of those senior players sort of saying something like, come on, we got to sort this out. And I mean, that was only West Ham. Let's be honest. You can't be losing that badly at home to West Ham.
True.
But yeah, whatever was said, it seemed to work. And if we're in that position again in the future, which I really hope we're not, let's hope they just remember back to this and say, right, what worked, what didn't work. Right, let's just do it and let's get on with the job. But we shouldn't have even been in that position to have to come back from 3-1 down.
No, I blame Sky. We never play well on Sky. One thing I will say, obviously, Yaz as well. I think we've spoke about quite a lot of this, like the shit performances, the great performances, bringing it back to 4-3. But I think the moment of the match for me has to be Beth at the end after having an injury that she had and that goal line clearance. Like that was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a really good performance from her. And
it was also like because didn't she do something to her hand as well? Did I see that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hands in some mess.
So she'll be out injured again. But no, to be fair, it was a goal line saving clearance, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Laura, it kind of it's what we've wanted to see, isn't it? And I think we just got to have a lot of respect for Beth in that situation. Because if she's not there, we don't win the game.
Yeah, that was a pivotal moment in the game. I mean, that first of all, for Daphne to clear it first, to have it up in the air, and then for Beth to come in. You just see Beth. She looks at it, she watches it come down, and she just thinks, nah. She puts her full body and her leg right up in the air, comes down, smack. I think it's actually one of our players that stood in her hand, because when she gets up, there's Beth Mead and someone else just coming up off the floor. But it is a bit of obviously a scrap in that area for Beth to put herself in the line. And you know what, give Beth Mead her flowers, because wow, for her to come back from something like that's something we've been looking from Leah all season. Just a slight tackle like that would have stopped something so silly. But yeah, thank God for Beth Mead, because we would have walked away with a draw in that game for that one.
I will say, between flipping concussions and hand injuries, we've nearly lost a quarter of our team.
Yeah, I mean, Joshua earlier on asked what was happening with Kafadri. She only walked from the training pitch to the dressing room, and then my first instance was, have you actually ever watched any of your training videos?
I think she probably pulled a hamstring going to IKEA or something. But yeah, to be fair, I think Kafadri obviously has been out injured and not been in the squad yesterday. I wasn't actually that surprised about. 4 people had to be left out, didn't they? So, Palova was back for the match day squad, which was a brilliant feeling and good for her. We were probably all thinking that she'd get some minutes against Liverpool potentially on Sunday. Would you think so?
Who, Rosa?
No, Palova.
Oh yeah. I imagine she was going to get something. I bet the plan was to give her 15 minutes yesterday, but
couldn't put her on in that. Really.
Other things, the game state transpired.
Yeah. I would have been actually scared to put Palova on the pitch yesterday, because it was such a physical game. We were obviously Arsenal were that hyped up by the second half. We were going in for tackles. West Ham were going in for tackles. I don't think that would have been the proper game to put Palova on. And the pace of the game would have been too much for her.
Agreed. Yeah, but hopefully she'll get something against Liverpool. It's a long road back to But as you were saying at the top of the show, George, I can't imagine her actually being in contention for a start until the new year. And then we've got an amazing problem, because of whether she's an 8 or a 10. With whether she's competing with Kyra or Frida and Rosa, I don't know.
Yeah.
Andrew, who's Frida?
Your favourite on the number 12 in the programme, number 1 in your heart. Now remember, just in Frida, Frida was one of the. It was only her. It was only at the beginning of the season, and before Renee, I think there was only 3 players really standing out, and it was Frida, Katie, and Caitlin. But yeah, she was a bit of a ghost yesterday. I don't know whether she kind of got bypassed. So, and the other thing is Frida hasn't really got any competition. I mean, Rosa seems like she's a million miles away from kind of being ready for the WSL, and her kind of it's Mariona who moves into the centre, isn't it? If as kind of a backup. So I wonder if Frida's just not getting the competition, or the rest actually, I suppose, because she's kind of almost guaranteed that starting position.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I think Mariona will take that 10 role, if I'm honest.
Can I just touch on how attacking we went when we brought on like Caitlin Ford? Obviously we had Chloe Kelly, Mariona. We brought on Kyra Cooney-Cross, which then meant that Kyra Cooney-Cross was the only defensive player that we left in midfield. Yeah. Renee went from a defensive midfield to an attacking midfield and left Kyra Cooney-Cross, who was able to just take it in her stride and be the absolute star in the second half for me. She just was happy to just float a ball. She was happy to go in for a tackle. She was happy to get the ball back when she lost it. For Renee to switch that from so defensively to so attacking was so smart.
Yeah, I thought Kyra was brilliant yesterday. Like when she come on for me, I think she's very, very underrated. It's like what we were saying in the WhatsApp group before, Paul. When you've got options like Caitlin, Beth, Mariona, Chloe Kelly, it's a good place to be, isn't it? It's like, I remember when we were saying, we don't know who's going to play there, or they've just got to play there just to do a job. Well, we've gone from that to having to leave 3 or 4 players out.
Yeah, it's a great place to be, and it's great that there's that much competition for places in the starting lineup. I mean, obviously next week, Chloe Kelly won't be available for the FA Cup game, so she'll be nice and fresh for the league game a week later. But yeah, to have that many players in the attacking half of the pitch, so as has just been said, switching it from a defensive to an attacking lineup just with a couple of subs made all the difference yesterday. But there's a couple of players there, and I think Frida's probably at the top of the list to have that conversation with roundabout now of, look, do you want to be here next season? If you do, you just need to really sort of knuckle down and pick your game up a bit. If not, do you know what? Do your best for the club while you're wearing the shirt for the rest of this season, and then we'll move you on somewhere at the end. I think there are players that can come into that role.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, that you've got players that can go. And I think what people need to forget, fans do sometimes have short memories and you live in the emotion. But guys, just remember, it was only earlier this season that we fucking drew 0-0 at home against Everton.
That was dire, wasn't it? Jesus, what a game that was.
I'm not saying the first half performance wasn't great, was good. It wasn't. It was probably one of the worst that we've had in recent times. But they had the mentality to turn that round and change it by Renee making those attacking offensive substitutions. And like Dorian said, we have an attacking defence line as well, with obviously Leah scoring, Katie McCabe scoring. How she scored, I don't know. I don't know how she got it in from that angle, but fair play to her. And I think that's just what you have to think. Teams just have really shit days. And there was probably a couple of those players that probably shouldn't have played yesterday. But you need to try and outweigh the positive with the negative. We got the 3 points. It's 3 points closer to getting automatic Champions League football. Because let's have it right, that's all we want this season. Because we're not catching Chelsea, so that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Is there stuff we can improve on? Of course there is. Because I still think there's players in the squad that should be sold in the summer because they're not at the level of winning titles and winning Champions Leagues. But because they've got a good song, people will be like, oh no, let's not sell them. So they're the conversations that we have to have. So that's one thing I would. But at the end of the day, we won 4-3. We could have lost. And then this show could have been this show could have been a very, very dark place. And that's not another blind joke either. I'm going to go around quickly before we end the show to get your. Oh, this is Andrew's thing, actually, not mine. Your Steph Catley Head Pat Award. So I'm going to start with. So that basically, for those who don't know, that's who you thought had a. Hold on, Andrew, this is yours. You can actually explain it. Off you go.
Well, yeah, with every goal celebration, and there was 4 of them yesterday, that's what you see is Steph Catley goes around patting everybody on the head. That's her little celebration. So this is what we do as a way of celebrating it's our player of the game, I suppose. Or, it doesn't have to be the player. It can be, maybe it's the coach. Maybe it's the North Bank. You decide.
Yeah, so who would you give an appropriate pat on the head to, Laura?
There's 2 people I would give it to, and that's Chloe Kelly and Kyra Cooney-Cross.
Cool. If you had to choose one, though,
then it's going to be Chloe Kelly in it, like just an all-rounder yesterday. A goal, an assist.
I thought you were going to say Chloe Cross or something.
I could have crossed it, kind of. I mean, Chloe Kelly came away with a goal, an assist, a yellow card. And
that's the perfect hat trick, isn't it?
Yeah, and a smile on her face. So there we go. That's what she wanted, was a smile back in her face, and she got that yesterday. So yeah, I think Chloe Kelly deserves to have that one.
Cool. Yes, who would you give yours to?
I'd agree with Laura there, both Kyra Cooney-Cross and Chloe Kelly, but as Laura's given it to Chloe Kelly, I'll give it to Kyra.
Oh, see, Yaz knows how the show works.
Yeah.
Paul, and you can't choose Cole.
Well, she was probably our best midfielder of the first half yesterday.
Oh, good one.
I'm shouting for him to bring Claire Wheatley on me. Bad friend start.
I'd actually give it to Renee on the grounds that she actually made those tough decisions early in the game to take off some big name players, change the formation up by bringing on the likes of Kyra, just change the game. She knew it wasn't working with what they went out to the start of the game. So, right, this is what we're going to do. Change it up, get on with it, not wait till the 85th minute like others would. Yeah,
good shout, actually. Andrew?
I just want to kind of mention something in the comments here that Agba's just reminded us that our second highest goal scorer this year is Frida, and with 12. So it's just kind of worthwhile saying she's got output no matter what we think about it. But that's a good point by Agba. I think Katie.
But then again, sorry, Andrew, but then again, going back on that, she's like most of our players this season, they're down tools. They have such a good game, and then it's like, whoa, we've got that player back. It'll be like the next game we'll say it about Leah, where we think, oh, Leah had such a good game, but then come into the next game and we're bitching about her again. Like, these players need to come out with some sort of like, no, this is what I will do for this club week in and week out. Not just do it for one game and then disappear.
I will say I'd like to know actually how many goals that is in the league. Like, because I'm pretty sure she scored a good couple of goals in the Champions League and in cup games. I'm not saying she's shit. All I'm saying is that for the way we want to play, having a number 10, and I know it was mentioned earlier that a number 10's not there to control the game. No one said it is, but the number 10's there to create opportunities and feed that ball through and be involved in goal scoring opportunities. And for me, Frida doesn't do that on a high, consistent level to be one of the better number 10s across the world, because that's what we're looking at. We're Arsenal Football Club, for fuck's sake. Like, we're not there just for the journey. Like, we want to be winning the WSL or FA Cups, Champions Leagues at the end of the day. So that's not me personally. I think Frida would be a good squad player, but consistency levels are not always there, and it ain't scapegoating her or anything like that. It's just being honest. Like 12 goals, yeah, fair enough. But ain't we got one of the highest goals in the league?
I think after Chelsea,
after Chelsea. So when you actually compare it to the goals, has she scored as many as she could? I don't know. Well, I'm not Frida, am I? So, and I think it's not jumping on a Frida bandwagon. It's just being honest. These are honest questions that you have to have. Someone could say that, I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone like when Caitlin Ford and Beth Mead were playing regularly, they could score more. They were in a great vein of form. Like Laura said, every player has a bad game, the problem with Arsenal's fan base, and I've said it the whole way through, is they're either the best in the world or they're the worst in the world. There's no middle ground.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Sorry, Andrew, I interrupted you there.
No. It's fair. It's a fair comment. Katie McCabe, one of the few that was there for the whole thing. I thought Katie was just brilliant yesterday. And again, when your team needs to fight, I think when you could see in the huddles after, there was about 6 huddles in the end after each goal that went in. Katie was the one that was kind of really doing a lot of the talking. And obviously that goal was, she just willed it in. I mean, obviously the keeper was highly embarrassed by it, but I think Katie McCabe for the Steph Catley head pat.
Can I also get another head pat?
She's got 3 hands, this woman.
That's 3. I'll give it to the North Bank because, as we touched on earlier, that noise was absolutely ecstatic. Like, you could hear it through the TV, and the banging on the back of that steel at Meadow Park was just... I said that to James. We were supposed to be there yesterday, but of course with the 5:30 kickoff and having to get back to Scotland was going to be a nightmare. But I said to James that would have been one game I would have loved to have just been at, simply because the roar from you guys was just awesome. So it was.
Michael saved my life as well, because when the 4th goal went in, I nearly slipped from the back of the stand. So that would have been fun. Yeah. No, he won't play, mate. He's injured.
Whee!
Well, I will say, Sam, thanks for watching as well. He said about Kyra at 6, Palova, and then I think Mariona or someone like that. But I think that's the midfield that I've always really wanted. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But that's the one I've always wanted. And rotating Leah Volti, because everyone remembers Leah Volti is probably the closest she's got to world class. But when was the last time she had a fully fit season? Just dropping that in. My head pat is going to throw you all off the curveball here.
Oh, hello.
And it's going to prove to Dorian that I'm not anti-Swede.
You're going to say Stina, aren't you? You big suck up.
So my head pat is going to go to the one, the only,
Amanda Ellerstedt.
Yes.
Amanda Ellerstedt, come on the pitch, put her on the right wing, mate. I've watched a lot of right wingers, and Mbappe, all of them. Not a patch on Amanda. That ball, if that ball that she nearly put in, that would have been the ball of the season. So you know what? A lot of disrespect for Amanda, but hey, Mandy, you're getting my head pat for the day.
Nice.
So yeah. That nearly had all you got. You thought Steiner. Me, Pete Steiner. No, yeah. I've not had a brain injury.
Yeah. Nothing.
So, yeah. What we'll do, we'll end it there. Thank you to all the comments in the chat. It's been a healthy debate, actually. Not everyone agreeing with each other, so that's nice. So you can all kiss and make up in the school playground now, so it's good. But yeah, definitely remember, hit that subscribe button and share. And if you want to get involved, feel free. You're always welcome as well. Yaz, thank you for coming on, mate. You've been brilliant.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Laura, thanks for all your help as well.
No, as always, it's been a pleasure, and I'm really sorry if I've upset anybody tonight, but as you can tell, I watched the game twice. And
If you get the
if
you get the subscribers up, Laura, I don't give a flying fuck, so it's fine. Andrew, great as always, mate.
Cheers, Gaffer. Thank you. Let's hope it's a nice, boring podcast the next time when we've just walked over Liverpool 3 or 4-0.
Oh, let's see how it is. Nice, boring podcast, all right?
Yeah.
It's never boring. Never boring.
Back to the Steiner debate.
Moving on. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, always a pleasure, George.
Yeah. Are you there on Sunday?
Unfortunately not.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. But yeah, once again, we got the victory. We take the 3 points and we run. Come on, you Gunners. Good night, everyone.